Hello, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? So, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to talk about tonight, mostly about the Sebastian Rogers case, as usual. Let everybody get a chance to come on in. Let's see. All right. Hello, Ginger. Welcome in. So, I was wanting to talk to everybody about what's been happening, right? And I was having a conversation earlier, and I'm like, what is it going to take for all this garbage in this case to stop? Right? We read Nick's post the other day to X, and, he's just as frustrated and, as I think most of the rest of us, those of us who don't like all the drama going on, right? And I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Just about the time you think maybe it's calmed down a little bit, something else comes up, and I don't know. Yeah. When you think about talking about a case or telling what's going on, it's kind of like reporting, right? Whatever happened to integrity in reporting, right? I mean, whatever happened to that? I'm just concerned because it seems as though it's all gone by the wayside. It's hard to find, even in the mainstream news media. I think everybody knows that. It's just difficult to find, mainstream news even that's telling the truth. What's happened to this world, right? That we can't be honest anymore. Hello, Noni. I agree, Ginger. I agree. And I think that's what we all want, right? We all want Sebastian to be brought home. And the thing that bothers me is all this stuff in the way. And, is it all in the way? I don't know. I don't know. But I know that, as for me, I want to continue to walk in my integrity and so I looked that up today, right? Let me see here. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen with you. Just found a short little clip that kind of spoke what my heart was saying. And talks about doing the right thing when nobody's watching, right? Even when no one's
When you
watching.
look around at the small amount of people who truly succeed in life and the huge amount of people who don't and never will, it's no wonder when you look at the ethics and morals of these people. Some people would rather steal the first place medal than earn it. But the real prize is the growth that comes from earning it. The real prize is the journey that comes from earning it. And you'll never earn it without ethics and morals.
You'll never earn respect without integrity. You'll never have great relationships without morals. You'll never have the support of your peers or your team backing you without ethics.
The real prize is the journey. And sadly, many people will never get that. They'll never understand doing the right thing always leads to better results.
Doing what is right leads to better relationships. Better relationships lead to bigger and better opportunities and better results. Doing what is right leads to better outcomes, better products and services, better and bigger referrals. It is a compounding cycle and law of nature that always comes back around. But most people don't have that level of patience. They want the lottery ticket, not the ticket to integrity and a fully lived life. They want the easy option now, not the legacy of a life lived consistently doing the right thing.
Some people would be willing to tread on everyone as long as they reach the top. If you are stepping on toes to get to that next level, don't be surprised when those same toes kick you up the backside. When you drag others down, karma will ensure it's only a matter of time before you too are dragged down.
Most people want the glory without the guts, the prize without the persistence, the money without the morals, the easy without the ethics. Most people just chase the money with no consideration of doing what is right. Unless you want to end up like most people. Don't be most people. Do what is right. Do what is right. Not every now and then. Every day, every moment. Because doing what is right by others will lead to better results and better opportunities in your life. Because doing what is right is right. Because you're a decent human being. Don't even consider what you're going to get out of it. Just your conscious awareness of knowing you're doing the right thing should be enough. Knowing you are a person of integrity. Do everything with integrity. Even when no one is watching. Because there's always someone watching. Your honor is watching. Your pride is watching. There's always someone watching.
So there you have it. He was a little more preachy than what I really anticipated, but I think you get the point of what's on my heart today, right? And about this case, right? Noni, you said it perfectly. We reap what we sow. And it may not come right away, whether it's good or whether it's bad, right? Sometimes, even when we sow good, we don't reap it right away. Even when we sow bad, we don't reap it right away. But it eventually comes to us, doesn't it? But if we're always sowing integrity in what we're doing daily, that's going to come back to benefit us. So I just want to encourage you guys, always do what's right, think about it and always do what's right, Hello, K9. Good to see you. That's okay. I was getting sleepy earlier and then I got a second wind. There was another short video before we get into the big one that I kind of wanted to go into. A short video that I just wanted to play because it talks about, hello, Brenda Joe. That's a good analogy, Ginger. Some seeds take years to sprout and break the soil. Yep. Absolutely. And when they finally do sprout, how much sweeter is that, right? But anyway, this video kind of talks about something I think that we may have heard back in the beginning, but we all forgot about. So I'm going to go ahead and play it real quickly. Curious.
Hey everyone, so there hasn't been any new updates in the Sebastian Rogers case, so I wanted to go back and discuss something that was found last May. So I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a PI who was working for Seth Rogers. Her name was Heather, and she actually found some items between a storage unit and a store close by to where Sebastian went to school. Now, what she found was a box with some items in it, and at the bottom of the box, it had the name Katie on it. This is it right here. She also found a mattress pad. This is a photo of that right here. Now, this mattress thing is biomagnetic, as you can see on the label. A lot of people tend to think that biomagnetic things help children with autism, adults with autism. Here is an article of that right here. Now, allegedly, law enforcement did not take it in, so Heather took it, and who knows what she did with it. We know that she isn't working for Seth anymore. Now, this is the area where this stuff was found. You have the storage unit right here, an area of nothing, some brush, which is where the items were found, and then that store. Now let's take a look at the map. So this is the Proudfoot's home. This right here is the school that Katie apparently drove to see if Sebastian was there on February 26th. Over here is where those belongings were found. You can actually see that she could have gotten her car, drove to the school, drove to this area where these things were, threw them out the window, and then drove back to the home in a path that made sense with her looking for Sebastian. So what did Heather do with these items? Did law enforcement ever get these items? And if they did, were they tested? If they didn't, why weren't they tested? If these items are directly related to Katie Proudfoot and Sebastian Rogers, that would be huge. And let's just say that law enforcement doesn't believe that these items were thrown there between February 25th and February 26th. They still should have looked at them, investigated them, checked them out, because they could have been put there weeks prior, months prior, and they could hold valuable information when it comes to this case and understanding this family. So let me know if you guys have seen this information before, heard this information before. If not, what do you guys think? Do you think that this could be connected to Sebastian's disappearance? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to follow for more updates on this case as well as others, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey.
Okay. So here's my thoughts on that, guys. I thought that somebody said that since the police didn't want them, Heather gave them to Katie, and then Katie disposed of them. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. But it's now making me wonder if things like this were found, guys, early on. Hello, Pitter Patter. Cheryl Light, good to see you. So if things like this were found early on, then what was done with them? Did police really say they didn't want to see them? If not, then maybe they should have been brought to the TBI or the FBI. I mean, who were they brought to? Craddock? If I would have taken him to Craddock and he said that, I would have gone higher. I wouldn't have stopped there. That's me. That's my opinion. But so yeah, you kind of got to wonder, right? And then we all know that there was another mattress delivered later. I mean, that all is very fishy, guys, right? In my opinion, that's all very fishy. You know, the last thing that I want to talk about, and it's going to take a little bit to get through it, is a video from Deception Detective, and he's analyzing Seth. And he talks about what it looks like to be innocent. Okay. And I felt like this was a good time to put this out there. I realize it's not going to make me look good with some of the other people out there, right? I don't honestly care, because they're all saying that Seth left town because he's been dodging getting this, being served civil papers by that deranged lady. I don't think he even cares, They're saying all this stuff, right? And of course, they're coming at him harder and harder, right? And I just want to remind people that the professionals out there see him for what he is, right? And those same professionals have looked at the Proudfoots and see them in a certain way, right? Hello, Charity. Good to see you. So we're going to go ahead and break down this this interview, this video that Deception Detective did. Let me see. Share my screen. And it says, how to tell innocent from guilty. Okay. So we're going to go ahead.
He's showing up to an interview that he knows is going to be on the side of the road. There's not going to be any news graphics behind him showing Sebastian. So he is showing Sebastian. What does Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth Rogers, know about his son's disappearance, if anything? I'm Deception Detective. I'm an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exists to expose lies and manipulation. In today's video, we'll analyze an interview Seth Rogers did with Fox News. If you're not familiar with this case, here's a quick summary. On February 25th, 2024, Sebastian was reported missing by his mother and his stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot. Sebastian is still missing, and many suspect the Proudfoots know more than they're admitting to because he was with them at the time of his disappearance. I personally have not analyzed the Proudfoots, and that's because I've seen them do many YouTube interviews to clear their names. And I would like to invite them to do an interview with me before I analyze them. So, Chris and Katie, if you're watching, you can contact me at deceptiondeck.com and we can arrange it. It doesn't even have to be a video interview. It could even be an AMA in my forum, whatever you're comfortable with. The point is, if I don't detect any deception in our interview, I, for one, will vouch for your story. With all that said, let's start listening.
Today. Seth, it's been more than a month since your son went missing. How are you feeling today?
Same as I was yesterday.
Just a quick warning. I think this interview was recorded in mono, so you might need both headphones in order to hear it.
Continuing the search, continue looking. I'm not going to give up. Nobody can make me give up.
And where have you been searching? Where do you think he is?
I've been searching everywhere. I mean, anything out of that 5 mile radius that the initial search did, they covered everything there. But there's stuff elsewhere. I mean, we got a lot of territory to cover. And it being over a month, he could be anywhere currently. So I'm searching everywhere.
You, Katie, and Chris had a meeting with TBI.
So the interviewer asked him, where are you searching? He told us a 5 mile radius, but since it's been a month, everywhere. This is actually a very good answer. So if you followed my channel for some time, you know that my audience, whenever I do a community poll, typically votes for me to analyze parents of missing children. I think because it strikes a chord with the true crime community. There's really nothing sadder than a little kid who's missing, especially if the parents are responsible. So, for example, we've analyzed William Tyrrell, Madeline McCann, Summer Wells, and most recently, Madeline Soto, who went missing on the same day as Sebastian Rogers. When parents of missing children get the opportunity to go onto the news or to do a YouTube interview or go on Nancy Grace like the Proudfoots did, you can expect them to do certain things. So typically, this is my checklist you can find in the DD forum. They do these things. They speak about the kid in the present tense, and that's because they don't know whether the kid's dead or not, so they default to alive. It's easier that way. If you don't know what happened to your kid, you're going to want to believe they're alive, especially if it's only been a month. Number two is they are cooperative. So when the interviewer asks them a question, they do their best to answer it. So even if they don't know where the kid is, they will give their best guess. And we saw Seth Rogers do that right here. She asked where he's looking. He said, ideally, it's a 5-mile radius, but because it's been a month, I'm searching everywhere. I don't know where he is, which is different than just saying, I have no idea or I don't know, like we saw Casey Anthony say. And recently we saw Jennifer Soto say that. And um, uh, Madeline Soto's stepfather, Stephen Stearns. So even though the answer was vague, it was cooperative. Third is parents of missing children are inconclusive. In other words, they don't know what happened. So even if they have a best guess about what happened, they can't say for sure, which is why when the McCanns said from day one, Madeline must have been kidnapped, or the Wells said, Summer Wells must have been kidnapped, without any evidence of a kidnapping, it's a red flag for a hoax.
Sound familiar, guys?
Fourth, parents of missing children typically will look into the camera and address any kidnappers. So they might say, hey, if you have my kid, please drop them off at a police station. There's a reward. We won't pursue you. They have medical needs. He needs his medicine. Anything they need to say to a potential kidnapper, because it's on the table of possibilities. Fifth, they address the child through the camera. So if you have this one opportunity to speak to the news and you don't know where your kid is, you're likely to take that opportunity to talk to them through the camera. When parents don't do that, it can indicate that they know where the kid is and that they know they're dead, because speaking to them through the camera doesn't even occur to them. Right? We always speak based on everything we know. So the parent who knows their kid is dead or knows where their kid is might not take that opportunity because it doesn't even occur to them, because they don't have that curiosity in the first place. Sixth, we can expect the parent of a missing child to ask for help. Right? They know that they're not doing this interview to clear their names or build up their alibi or build a story. Typically, they don't even need to be prompted to ask for help. That's the entire reason they're appearing on the interview, is to ask.
Interesting. I just wanted to stop it right there. So they're appearing on the interview to put out, to help how they look, or you know what I'm saying? And isn't that kind of what has happened in this case? Not with Seth. Seth, it's always focused on Sebastian, right? Yeah, and I guess I didn't pick up before that he's an attorney. I mean, I knew that he was an expert on deception, but I didn't pick up that he's an actual attorney. That's kind of interesting. So he's a very intelligent man, right? But I like what he's talking about here. He's giving us things to look at, as far as what parents of a missing child will normally do. And as we go down those, I can see in Seth's interviews that he has done those, and he's going to point those out. But then think about the other side as we're listening, guys. Okay.
Ask for help. When they don't ask for help, it's a red flag because it might mean they have some other agenda, like they want to clear their name, or they want to build up a certain narrative of a kidnapping, right? So they're pushing a story, or they want to make people feel sympathy for them. Either way, they have some other agenda.
Some other agenda. They're trying to build up a narrative. Isn't that interesting?
Besides asking for help, which should be the only priority they have. And then number 7, there's a call to action. So for example, they say, hey, if you see my kid, here's what they look like. Call them by this name, right? He responds Sebastian or Seb. And we have this special hotline number, or call 911. Whatever it is, they have some sort of call to action. Just like a commercial always has a call to action, right? Commercials know what their purpose is. Call 1-800 whatever to claim your coupons. The point is they have a call to action because there's a purpose when they're.
And Seth has done this, guys. In fact, I was kind of surprised the first time he did give this call to action because he said, if you see him, call his name, have him come over by you, give him something to eat, but don't bring him into your home. Call 911. And somebody asked him, why wouldn't I want to bring, if it's cold outside, as it has been, like here, it's been below zero, I would be wanting to bring him inside, right? He said, no, because that makes you number one target, the number one suspect. You don't want to bring him into your home. This old granny would have wanted to bring him into home, put a blanket around him, give him some hot cocoa and something to eat, and right? Um, and yeah, but he brought up a really good point. You don't want to become the suspect. Keep him there, talk to him, feed him, bring blankets out to him, whatever you have to do. And I really appreciated Seth saying that because I would have never thought about that, right?
There is no call to action. Once again, it's a red flag the same way that not asking for help is a red flag, that the parents are appearing on the interview for some ulterior motive. And that requires digging into further. So he gave a great answer to that first question.
Hello, it got
And we can
changed.
see that he has a picture of Sebastian on his t-shirt, as well as Sebastian's age, 15 years old, weight, height, last time he was seen. This right here is meeting lots of the criteria already, and we're only a few seconds into the interview. So he's being cooperative and he's asking for help through his t-shirt. He's providing useful information as well as a call to action, right? If you see this kid, call 911.
Today, did you find out any new information?
Not that I can discuss.
Any progression that might show hope in this search?
Oh, I always have hope. Can't take that away from me.
And how
This is another good answer. So I'm going to bring up another one of my checklists just briefly to show you why hope is so important. You can find all these checklists for yourself. I've put them all in the resources tab on forum.deceptiondeck.com. So here's my 911 call checklist. And basically, this is just a checklist that the FBI created to determine if a caller is innocent or guilty. It might have been updated in the past few years, but this is the one I prefer to use, tailored to what I like to look for.
Wow.
And
I
as you
didn't
can
even know
see,
such a
that
thing
the
existed.
parents who are calling 911 who are actually innocent never give up hope. They deny the victim's death, whereas guilty callers often accept the victim's death. So they start saying, well, she's dead or he's dead, or they speak about the kid in the past tense. So the fact that he's not giving up hope, even after a month,
And
is a
he
great
still
sign
hasn't, guys.
that he doesn't know whether or not Sebastian is dead. Guilty parents, even if they're trying to act like they're innocent, still slip up and speak about the kid in the past tense
Mm-hmm.
because they know the kid is dead. And the famous case of that is Susan Smith. But we also saw Don Wells do it. We've seen the McCann slip up and do it. We've seen William Tyrrell's foster parents slip up and do it.
How confident are you that Sebastian is alive?
And in fact, most recently, in my last video, How to Expose a Psychopath, we saw Stephen Stearns do it. He gave an interview less than 24 hours after his stepdaughter went missing. And in that interview, he said, well, it's hard to find hope, or we've lost hope. That's not what you would expect the parent of a missing child to say, especially less than 24 hours after they went missing.
How about a stepfather saying to the father within hours of the child missing, "What are you going to do if this goes south?" Is that suspicious, guys? What are you going to do if this goes south? Within hours. Do you use a QR code on the back of their shirts for people to scan on their phones to help? That's a good point. Interesting. CP said helpless, hopeless. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Isn't that something, guys? As far as Alive with Nancy Grace, what I have heard is that he is being interviewed tonight, but it will not air until Wednesday, guys. I was kind of watching for that because I certainly would not try to compete with that one for sure, right? Not that I'm competing with anyone, I'm really not, but it does affect, you know, when creators go on at the same time, it does affect things. I'm on at this time because we took a poll and that's what everyone wanted. So I'm listening to my subs, you know. But yeah, very, very interesting things here. And I'm going to have to go to his website. I really want to peruse that and look through that. That's going to be, it's almost a little bit too little too late in the Sebastian Rogers case, right? But in analyzing other cases, I think that his information could be very, very helpful. Someday maybe we can get the deception deck.
But it is what you would expect someone who knows the kid is dead to say. Because, yeah, they've lost hope because the kid's dead.
Is alive, and what do you think he's doing right now?
Pretty sure he's probably playing video games somewhere. Nobody's letting him, whoever's got him, they're not letting him see the regular news. They're not letting him surf the internet. Or else he'd know that I'm looking for him. And he'd know that he should actually be trying to get a hold of me. And that keeps me going.
Is there strong reason to believe he may have been abducted?
I don't know if he's been abducted or if he's just, over at a friend's house.
Once again, this is the right answer. He's not conclusive. He's inconclusive. He might have been kidnapped. He might be at a friend's house. He's a 15-year-old kid. Maybe he ran away. Maybe he's staying in the woods. The point is, the dad doesn't know because he literally doesn't know. Whereas parents who know what happened reveal it through the words they choose. Or they reveal it through the hoax they try to push, where they only consider one option. And the favorite option of guilty parents is a kidnapping because it points all the attention away from themselves.
Oh my gosh,
So whenever
guys.
you see
The favorite option of guilty parents is always a kidnapping to take the attention away from themselves. Did you hear that? Okay, let's play that
one
again.
option, and the favorite option of guilty parents is a kidnapping because it points all the attention away from themselves.
Favorite option of guilty parents is a kidnapping because it takes all the attention away from themselves. I'm thinking about, I don't know why he walked out that door. 'Cause he didn't. Wow. You guys are being quiet. Have you guys seen this video? Maybe you have. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
So whenever you see a parent of a missing kid insist that the kid was kidnapped without any evidence, a red flag should go up that this might be a hoax. Because actual parents of missing children might consider a kidnapping as one of the options, maybe even a big option, but it's not the only option. They're genuinely curious about what happened to their kid because they don't know what happened. So the kid could have run off, could have been kidnapped, could be hiding, could be up in the attic, pretending to have run away.
And guys, that's the thing I want to bring up about Seth. Seth is just Seth. He is who he is. He's very blunt. He's very matter of fact. He just tells it like it is. He's not thinking, what things should I be saying to look innocent? He's not thinking that way. I don't think Seth has it in him to think like that, guys. So I just wanted to point that out because other people could say differently.
Never know. But I'll know when I find him. I'll know exactly what has happened to him.
And other news outlets were reporting that there were lights seen in the backyard that were caught on camera by a neighbor's video. Is that true?
No. What that was a trash truck. Went through, picked up trash, and when it left, of course, it went faster. It didn't have to stop to pick up trash. That's just false information provided by a particular person.
Did the dogs ever pick up a scent for Sebastian?
From my information that I've been given, no.
So notice how he tries to answer every question. So he's cooperative. As far as I know, no. Based on what the police have told me, no. Is it possible the dogs might pick up a scent? Yes. So the inconclusiveness is the sign of someone who actually doesn't know what happened. Whereas, for example, there's so many comparisons of guilty parents, but once again, I'll just point to Stephen Stearns because we did this video most recently. When he was talking about evidence that the police found, he said, well, they found videos, but none of it's useful, right? Or it was too grainy. By saying the evidence isn't useful that early on, it shows that he has knowledge outside the facts. He knows more than he should. How does he know the evidence the police have is useless? How could he be so sure? Why not hold out hope that it is useful?
I agree, K9.
Right. So, for example, here, if Seth had said, "Well, the dogs aren't going to find anything," that would be a red flag. How would he know the dogs wouldn't find Sebastian's scent? So these subtle words that people use reveal what they know. And it's very difficult for liars to manipulate their answers to sound honest because you always speak based on everything you know. So, for example, if
That's
I know I've been
interesting.
speeding and a cop pulls me over and they say, "Do you know what you did wrong?" I will answer differently if I wasn't speeding, just based on whether or not I know I was speeding. Even if I want to lie or tell the truth, the words I pick will be different because I know certain things. For example, I might try to be more persuasive that I wasn't speeding if I decide to lie.
Did they find anything on Sebastian's cell phone that would, kind of show that he was going to run away or where he might be?
Not that I know of. He didn't have any internet access or anything on there. He'd have been able to call, text, take a picture, send a picture, use the calculator. That's about it.
Was Sebastian in school on Friday, the day before he went missing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you, Chris or Katie, or any of you suspects in this case?
No, we're not.
Also, just one note if you're new to my channel, because every time I start a new series, I get lots of new subscribers. So thank you for hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for joining the channel. But one thing about my channel is I do not analyze body language. I think that it's more distracting than it is useful. And that's why the behavior panel and I disagree on so many cases, including the McCanns and the Wells. So, for example, where he just had his hands up over his head, a body language person might say, that's self-soothing or or he's trying to look bigger than he is. I don't know what they would say because, in my opinion, it's voodoo. And if there is any redeeming quality about it, it's outweighed by how much it distracts you from the words, which are actually the most important things to pay attention to. So just know that I saw him doing that with his hands. I'm sure I'll get comments about people pointing it out. Personally, I don't factor it in at all.
He brings up a really good point. The words are more important than the actions. And in this case, he didn't know that at the time, Seth had problems with his shoulder, right? So in my opinion, that's why Seth, he's always pulling that right arm back up and over. And so when he was holding his hands back there, that felt good to him, right? It was stretching that or whatever was going on with his shoulder. I don't know what exactly he had wrong with it, but we know that that's why he was doing that. Deception detective didn't know that at the time, right? But I know that body language is a thing. I know it's important. But I agree with him. The words are more important than the body language.
All into my analysis. And I'll just quickly give you one last opinion about body language that I have. So lots of times I'll get people in the comments saying, well, DD, why don't you at least factor in body language or at least consider facial expression or tone of voice when you're doing your analysis, right? Because the more data you have, the better your analysis, right? And I wrote about this in the forum, and I'll just put it out here just so everyone has my response to that. So, does having more data always lead to better understanding? It depends on how you see things. For instance, deception analysts, such as the behavior panel, analyze everything from speech to tone of voice to body language, and they seem to believe that more data about the subject equals a more accurate analysis. So, on a graph, for example, with amount of data on the x axis and accuracy of analysis on the y axis, it would look something like this if they are correct, right? So, they would be this yellow dot here with more data, more accurate, and I would be down here, the blue dot, right? Because I deliberately exclude data like tone of voice and facial analysis and body language because I think it can be misleading. So I would be down here, right? They would be more accurate than me. However, I see it differently. Adding data does not always improve understanding. So there's an ideal amount of data. There's a perfect amount of data that would provide the best insight, right? Some hypothetical, mythical, perfect amount of data you can get from someone to be the most accurate you can when you're analyzing them. So, too little data and you're just guessing, too much data and you become too exposed to bias or distraction or misdirection, especially when you're analyzing a psychopath. Because as you saw in my Stephen Stearns analysis or Nicole Kessinger, or even the Wells, I do believe they are psychopaths. They can mislead you with the way they act. So if you start factoring in their prying and their tone of voice, you can actually be misdirected by adding that data in. So my viewpoint doesn't necessarily follow a straight line. It's more of a curve. So if we were to chart it out with the same axis, neither the behavior panel, who would be this yellow dot, or I would be perfect, right? So if the perfect analysis is right here at the peak of the graph, behavior panel would suffer from having too much data, too much stuff that can mislead them. And I might suffer from having a little bit too little data. So I wouldn't be at the peak either, right? Nobody's perfect. So to minimize bias and distraction, I deliberately avoid learning too much about my subjects beyond their words.
Wow.
And this approach might lead me to overlook some key details of the cases, but on balance, I believe it results in a more accurate analysis. While on the other hand, the behavior panel's extensive use of data and research ensures that they do not overlook any significant details, but it also exposes them to the risks of distraction and being misled, especially by skilled deceivers. So finding the right balance of data is key. It's not about having more, it's about having the right amount. So, all that said, I don't analyze body language on my channel because I think it's not worth it.
Have you been cleared?
I don't know if the investigation is still ongoing. We wouldn't be cleared until the investigation's done. But currently,
There's another good answer. Have you been cleared? I don't know. I'm personally not cleared. I don't think anyone's been cleared.
I liked what he said as far as getting the right amount. So he didn't look at Seth's hands over his head or analyze it because it wasn't important, guys.
We see this all the time with hoaxers, with parents who are pretending their kid was kidnapped. Because they know what happened to their kid, they're not curious about other suspects. And they reveal themselves by not suspecting everybody. So, for example, in the case of the McCanns, they said that before their daughter was allegedly kidnapped from their resort in Portugal, one of their friends checked the bedroom. And then when they went back, their daughter was missing. But they never suspected that friend of doing something with their daughter. The fact that they had no suspicion for the friend is a giant red flag that they know what happened to their daughter. Same with Stefan Stearns and Jennifer Soto.
For sure.
Stefan was just Jennifer's daughter's, not even stepdad, right? Jennifer was dating Stefan. He allegedly drove her daughter, Madeline Soto, to school, and then Madeline Soto was never seen again. Yet Jennifer never suspects Stefan of doing anything, right? They've been together close, never accusing each other, not even a question. So the fact that they do not question each other is a sign that they both
And
know
that's
what
funny.
happened. Whereas actual innocent people, just like Seth Rogers here, they can't rule anyone out until the investigation is over because they don't know what happened. So, like it or not, if your kid goes missing, everyone is a suspect. Same for the Wells. Don was allegedly at work when his daughter Summer went missing. The only people at the house were his wife, Candace Wells, and his mother in law, Candace's mother. Yet he never accused them or questioned them or considered that maybe they did something to her and were too scared to tell him. The lack of curiosity is the sign of a hoax.
currently, from my understanding, they don't have any information that would attach us to any wrongdoing.
CPS has gone to Katie's house before. You didn't know about that until this investigation. How does that make you feel?
That somebody somewhere dropped the ball because I was never informed. And I'm the biological father. I have joint legal, joint physical custody. Somebody dropped the ball and didn't reach out and inform the father, which is me. And I don't understand why the state dropped the ball on that one.
And how?
Another thing you'll notice here is that Stephen, what is his name? Seth Rogers doesn't try to ingratiate himself with the authorities. Right, so he says, CPS dropped the ball. They didn't inform me. And that's typical of innocent people, right? His kid is missing. The police have not found his kid for a month. CPS visited the house and he was never informed. He is rightfully pissed off at them. And we actually see this in 911 calls of innocent parents. So counterintuitively, innocent people, when they call 911 or when they're dealing with the police, are actually urgent and rude because they don't need the
Interesting.
police to necessarily like them, right? They're impatient with the police for not finding their kid. Whereas guilty callers and guilty parents are often very polite and very patient with the police. And that's because they're not actually stressed. The longer the police take and the more they fumble, the better. And because they know they're guilty, they feel the need to make the police like them because they know that if someone likes them, they're less likely to
Guys, this
accuse them of the
explains
crime, to
so
look into them.
much.
So it's a manipulation tactic. And it's a manipulation tactic that reveals that someone has guilty knowledge. So I do like to see this where he's not letting CPS off the hook for not informing him. He's rightfully angry. Right? He's indignant, which is a sign of someone who's actually innocent.
How did you find out about CPS?
Podcast.
And I mean, how does that concern you, especially with this case that they might have done something to cause him to run away?
I don't know what that really means, but I just know that I don't have all the information.
Is there an official timeline? And I know people, there was, we went to bed at this hour, but does TBI or anyone have an official timeline as to the series?
I'm pretty sure they do, but I'm not involved in the investigation, so I wouldn't have it.
Have the three of you been in contact every day like you were several weeks ago about this?
I was in contact with both Katie and Chris today, but I've heard he said his phone is open and available. Well, so is mine. You can leave a voicemail. Like 7 or 8 people have already left me voicemails today. I'm going. I get people calling me while I'm on the phone, and it's like, I can't just sit there and answer the phone for everybody. If I did that, I probably wouldn't be able to get out of my house.
There's been a lot of criticism over this investigation. I'm sure you've received criticism as well as the Proudfoots. How does that make you feel in a time where you're just trying to find your son?
All right. So one other thing that guilty parents do is they spend a lot of attention looking at what's said about them on social media because they're scared of people figuring them out. So let's see what he answers here. Typically, an innocent parent wants to clear their name and find their kid. And
That's
they're
right,
not too
Ginger.
concerned about people criticizing them online. And as usual, I've not watched this interview before.
People are being, well, that goes back to those keyboard warriors I talked about on the first interview that you and I had. They're still at it. They'll never stop. There's cowards in this world, and then there's people who are go-getters. My feet, they're on the ground. They're never going to leave the ground. I'm going to find my son. Period.
And plans, today on moving.
All right. So it sounds like early on, maybe when they did that first interview, I didn't realize he'd done another interview with this lady, that he was paying attention to it. He's over it. Now he's looking for his son, which is correct.
Forward, any more resources being used on this investigation or anything you have to say about that?
The United Cajun Navy is currently sitting down there right now at 90 Volunteer Drive in Hendersonville. 10:30. That's when volunteers need to show up. 10:30. Show up, have your ID, sign the paperwork, and they send people out in teams. When you show up, there ain't nobody there except for a couple people. That's because they've already sent teams out. They're just going to keep sending teams out until we find my son.
Have there been a lot of volunteers coming out to help find Sebastian?
Today there was, and I want to thank everybody who did come out. We're seeing an increase, and we're going to continue to see an increase. I'd like the whole state of Tennessee to volunteer, and then we'll hit other states.
And you're Sebastian's father. Tell me, what is Sebastian like?
All right. So here's another opportunity for us to predict what an innocent person might say and a guilty person might say. Typically, guilty parents find some way to blame the kid for what happened to them. And this is how they rationalize what they did to the kid, right? So they have to convince themselves that the kid was bad or that they deserved it. And we saw this with Ruby Frankie recently. Right? I came back to YouTube
It's all right,
because I
Noni.
saw a Ruby Frankie video. I saw that she was doing these sadistic things to her kid, but they were subtle, and she was posting them on YouTube, and people weren't recognizing the signs. Right? So she was punishing the kids, humiliating them, but it was always the kid's fault because she had put them into an ordeal that no matter what they do, they would do something wrong. and then that justified her punishing them. And as we saw in her recent journals, she convinced herself that the devil was inside them, which allowed her to punish the kids. Right? So she's a sadist, she enjoys punishing her kids, but she needed justification to do it. Here, for example, I think Jennifer Soto revealed that she had dehumanized her daughter, Madeline Soto. When she was interviewed about Madeline, she said, well, Madeline left her phone at home, so she couldn't call us if she was kidnapped. And she has ADD and she has a bad memory. In other words, she found lots of ways to blame Madeline for
Yep.
what happened to her, which to me was a giant red flag that she had dehumanized Madeline for a long time, right? Long before that, over years. And of course, it's now coming out
That's
that
so
Jennifer's
sad.
boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, sexually abused Madeline for years and probably ended up killing her. So let's see here if Seth will tell us what a great boy Sebastian is and give us details about him that will help us find him, or if he will subtly victim blame and blame Sebastian for what happened to him.
Yeah, let's see what Seth
He's a
says.
unique child. All right. He can. I mean, it's really hard to describe my son. I mean, besides being unique, whether he's up to no good or he's up to good, he's just got that uniqueness about him. It's really hard to describe. I mean, he's my mini me. If he has a goal, he's going to accomplish that goal. You know, people at school, they liked him. All the kids are wanting to know when he's going to come back. They want to help and volunteer. Teachers are they're putting out prayers every day. You know, everybody, it's coming up. It's Easter. I'm hoping for an Easter miracle. You know, I could definitely use it in my life right now.
And why did they search the land?
All right, so that response was off to a rocky start, but in the end, it was all praising Sebastian and basically praising him through the outpouring of teachers and fellow students who are now looking for him. So he must have been a good kid. And I think this video will actually premiere on Easter. So, as you know, every video I premiere, I am in the live chat during the premiere chatting. So if we are premiering on Easter right now and I'm in the live chat, happy Easter to everyone who celebrates. And hopefully Seth does get his Easter miracle.
The landfill.
I have no idea. They didn't, not part of the investigation. They're not going to tell me stuff. I am emotionally attached, as any parent should be.
And how often do you meet with TBI?
If I call them all the time. Call, text, hey, any new news?
Once more, this is a good response. He's pestering them. Now, he knows he's pestering them. I call them all the time. I text them. But that is what innocent parents do. They don't sit back patiently and be polite and let the police handle their work and give them all the time they need. They're
Wow.
rushing the police, right? Find my kid. Why have you not found my kid? And a great example of this is Gannon Stouch's biological mother,
Amen,
who I
Noni.
analyzed in my video, What Do Innocent Parents Look Like? So if you've not watched that video, I recommend watching that one, where I show two examples of innocent parents. And one of them was Gannon Stouch's biological mother, right? And if you know that story, Gannon was actually murdered by his stepmother.
They either let me know or they let me know.
Are you happy with the work that all these agencies have done, or do you think there needs to be more?
There could probably always be more.
Once again, another good answer, right? No ingratiation. It's not like Summer Wells' parents, right? Dawn and Candace Wells, where they say, well, the police are doing a great job and, thank you to the police when they hadn't found their kid. So this is what I would expect an innocent parent to say. I appreciate their help. I appreciate them looking, but more could be done. because until your kid is found, it's never enough.
Exactly.
We just got to figure out what more is necessary. Am I happy with them? I'm not unhappy. But you asked me that after my son's back, and it's going to be, I'm happy.
That's textbook. So I know lots of my subscribers clip my videos, and I actually have a place for your clips here so that they get featured. Like this one from Katerina Rostova. So if you guys do have a YouTube channel and want to clip that, please do clip it. That is the perfect response from an innocent parent when they're asked, "What do you think of the police looking for your kid?" It's been a month. I appreciate their help. They haven't found my kid yet. And if you want to see an even more aggressive response, look at my video, What Do Innocent Parents Look Like? And look at how Gannon Stouch's biological mother deals with the police.
Yep.
All right. Because in law enforcement, it's always goal oriented. You know, go to work, put a smile on your face, get the job done. I know that they're putting their effort, 150% effort into this. And I appreciate that. And I'm hoping it will pay off with fruition.
Do you think Katie and Chris are suspects?
I have no idea.
All right, here. Do you think they're suspects? The answer is everyone is a suspect. So this is the beauty of the checklists. And like I said, you can find all of them at forum.deceptiondeck.com. Because my checklists are proactive, right? I've had these for a long time. I can apply them to any case. They're not checklists that we make after the fact, because when people make a checklist
That's
after the fact,
interesting.
it's useless, right? It's like predicting a stock. Tell me if it's going to go up or it's going to go down. Don't tell me after the crash that it was going to go down. And that's how I think of body language a lot of the time. If you know someone's innocent or guilty, well, then it's easy to say, yeah, guilty people put their hand on their head. You can interpret it however you want. I go strictly based on words, and I'm hoping that the Proudfoots recognize that, watch all my videos, and agree to do an interview. I feel like of
Yeah.
anyone, I will give you the fairest shake. Other thing to note about my channel
Too
is I don't
afraid to do
research
an
cases
interview with him,
beforehand.
aren't they?
I go strictly based on the words.
No idea.
Sebastian's been missing for more than a month now. What keeps you getting up every morning, going out and searching for him?
Being a dad, having perseverance, wanting him to come home, wanting to watch him finish growing up.
Do you wear this every day? Talk to me about this shirt.
This right here is my own billboard to find my son. People know.
Yeah, this T-shirt is a great sign that he's innocent, because he doesn't even have to say all this stuff. He doesn't have to describe Sebastian. He's showing up to an interview that he knows is going to be on the side of the road. There's not going to be any news graphics behind him showing Sebastian. So he is showing Sebastian.
People notice people. People notice what people are wearing.
Yep.
So I am a walking handout. I have these in my car.
How do you select that photo? It's so cute.
Because it's cute. It's got a smile. It's the last picture I took of him.
All right. So final thoughts. I don't think Seth has any guilty knowledge about what happened to his son. And the fact is that he met every single criteria on our missing child presser interview checklist. On your screen right now is my analysis of Jennifer Soto, the mother of Madeline Soto, the little girl who went missing the same day Sebastian did. And personally, I think she's guilty.
That's awesome to
So
know,
if you want to see
Noni.
someone who failed my innocent parent checklist, I recommend watching that to compare and contrast. Also on your screen is my Sebastian Rogers playlist, so make sure to check that out and subscribe so you can know if and when I add any more videos to this series. And of course, if my interview with the Proudfoots ever happens, I will put it there. So, Proudfoots, please do consider my offer. You can reach me, like I said, at deceptiondeck.com. Until next time, stay true.
All right. So, yeah, that's really good to know, Noni. Have to save up for that. Because I'm always on anyway. Having the cards would probably be more of a headache to me. I like to use my computer for everything. That's pretty awesome. So, I think watching this for some of you again, and me, I actually didn't see it before. I think that it was timely right now because there's so much garbage coming out about Seth, and a lot of lies, honestly. And I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it makes me angry, right? Because he doesn't deserve it. And so I wanted to kind of show once again that the professionals have studied his answers. But those of us who have common sense, who can think critically, knew that anyway, right? I know. He is really good. He is really good. I really like his content, I wish I had his smarts. His knowledge for that kind of stuff. It's pretty awesome, you know. And being a lawyer on top of it. I mean um that's incredible if you think about it. Me too, K9. I agree with you. SF and Aiden, yeah. Yeah. That would be very interesting. I've seen him get a little bit testy on X, and it's funny. It's funny. At that time, Seth said that law enforcement had information that he could not share. So how is it some say there is no evidence? Yeah. What those some people say, they're wrong. They're wrong. It's kind of like how they don't believe the lights video. The 3 a.m. car. And how they twist things. It's just unbelievable to me, And like I said, not critical thinkers, right? Just because law enforcement isn't sharing something and they haven't put handcuffs on somebody yet doesn't mean they have no evidence. Okay? But they need enough evidence to build a good case. They want to do this once, guys, and get a conviction, right? So, and that's what I would want. I know that's what Seth would want, right? And their main goal is finding Sebastian. Because Seth even said it on this interview. If you find Sebastian, I'll know exactly what happened. Right? Did you see what the deception detective posted on X about the liar versus the ones who believe them? that chat was horrible, wasn't it? It was. And no, I didn't see that. So let me see if I can find it really quickly. Um, must be down there a ways, huh? I'm looking, guys. I'll just share my screen while I'm looking so that you guys aren't wondering what I'm doing here. But I am looking. I like this comment right here. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is hiring, and he said, if you watched all my videos, you're overqualified. I don't know, Ginger. I don't know where it is. Maybe it was an answer to somebody or something. I don't know, but I can't find it. He posts quite a bit on X, doesn't he? X is not easy to figure out, and it's because if somebody answers to something, it does show up on your post. Like if you respond to somebody, it does show up on your news feed, but then it's kind of like hidden. And yeah, it's really, to me, it's not user friendly. I've never really liked X, and I'm only following it now because it's a part of what we do, right? It's like I don't like Discord and Reddit and those other ones either. I'm just not one for forums and stuff. Yeah, you've only got partial, don't you, Ginger? It had a sleeping baby deer. I remember seeing that. And it's probably hidden in this mess, right? Oh. Oh, okay. I'll show you, and then you can tell me if this is the one. Is it this one? Would you make fun of this fawn? That's why I go after hoaxers, not their believers. A fawn curled up beside a fake deer, which is used for target practice. That. Wow, is he smart, huh? Is that the one you meant, Ginger? Gotcha. Yeah. I'm right there with you, Noni. I can't. I don't even go there anymore. I think I have an account at each one of them, and I just don't even go there. if I don't like something, I'm pretty much not gonna spend time there, right? Um, you know, I pretty much look for mostly everything on YouTube, although, there's groups and stuff on Facebook. And then because Nick at Night, Hong, because they use X so much, that's why I've been on X. But that's the only reason why, honestly, is because of those guys. Other than that, I've been I find it's really difficult to find things on there, on X. I just don't care for it. I don't know why. But I wanted to leave you guys with our grannyism for today. Integrity, the choice between what is convenient and what is right. Right? What is convenient and what is right. Because, sometimes it's not always convenient to do what's right. Sometimes it's easier to do the wrong, more convenient to do the wrong than it is to do what's right in any case. And, yeah, there is more than enough on YouTube to keep up with. That's for sure, especially right now. I know some people can really fall into some rabbit holes reading on these forums, doing research. It's not worth the effort. I know. And I think that's the hardest thing, right? Because when you're just reading something versus just having conversations like we're having, right? And looking and trying to find truth versus just reading words, you can end up in a rabbit hole, right? And that has been the hardest part for this case, right? Not falling down a stupid rabbit hole. I mean, and I think so many people have done that. So many people have done that. And I just, there are people who go down rabbit holes thinking that Sebastian is no longer with us. I refuse to go there. I refuse to go there. I'm not going to because I want to honor what Seth believes. And Seth believes that Sebastian is alive. If he's not, is it going to hurt anything for us to continue to honor what Seth wants? It's not. It's not going to hurt anything, guys. Right? But heaven forbid he should come into my chat and see us talking about Sebastian being gone and horrific details about that. I would never want to hurt someone like that. I would never want someone to hurt me like that. My gosh, right? So, if Sebastian isn't with us, it's not going to hurt anything to believe he's still alive at this point in time. And that's what I want to choose to believe, because for Seth's sake and because I think it's the right thing to do. We don't have any evidence to go down that other path. To me, that's a rabbit hole. I gave up keeping up on YouTube too. I catch what I can when I can, but Sunday through Thursday nights, the chaos that comes with my hubby working with grands in 2 different schools and family comes first, and that's the way it should be, Noni. It's the way it should be. It gets exhausting trying to keep up with everything. I'll admit that. That's why once in a while I just take a day off. Hello, Cheryl. Yeah, because it does get to you, you know. You see so much garbage out there and it's awful. Yep. Until we know he's not. Exactly. Until we know he's not. Until or unless we know he's not, right? That's the way I look at it. And I think that, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, creators need to get back to integrity on their videos. Not just trying to get the subs, trying to get the money, trying to, we need to talk about the things that, yes, our subs want us to talk about, right? But talk about things with integrity, with honesty, and with truth. Doing what's right for everyone involved, right? And I think that if there were less creators that provided the drama, subs will follow suit, right? Because if there's no drama, then they'll either go away or and go on to some other medium where they can find their drama or get used to not having the drama, right? Not everybody likes it. With facts. Correct, Canine. With integrity. And I think that goes without saying. The facts should be a part of being, being honest and truthful. But, they're not going to, who is Granny, right? They're not going to listen to just me. But that's all right. I'm going to continue doing what I know is right so that I can sleep at night. But anyway, so I just encourage you guys, show integrity in your choices every day. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do in life, right? But being truthful, being honest, and doing what's right, even though it may be difficult, we can have a good life that way. If law enforcement believes he is still alive, then so should we. And that's right. Keep putting the flyers out, spreading awareness. Make sure that your local Walmarts still have his flyer up. Okay, guys? Make sure. Check that daily because they should not be taking it down. I don't care that it's almost been a year. He's out there somewhere, right? If people weren't giving those channels views and paying super this and that, controversy equals cash, unfortunately. It does. But you know what? Yeah. Oh, they're all over there collecting money for their lawyers. I'm sorry, guys. I am not giving up my Social Security for somebody else's lawyer. It's not happening. Can you imagine? I can't. I can't imagine. But that's what's happening. Let them. you know, uh, I mean, I suppose I've spent money in worse places, but no, I don't think I could ever do that. I just don't think. Any of you who still send people cards through the year, put a flyer in the card you send. Exactly. Exactly. Put a flyer on, you know. Um Speaking of snail mail, oh my gosh. One of my subs sent me a Christmas card and I just got it yesterday. And she sent it out way before Christmas, guys, and I just got it yesterday. Oh my gosh. Her and I had a nice chat about that in email. It was funny. Like, oh my goodness. So, gotta love snail mail. All right. Well, I know that the mob crew had something on tonight. I think it was something in relation to our wonderful PI that we talked about. Um, so you got one today too. That's funny. For security cameras, yeah, absolutely. Brennan and I have been kind of talking about that, but Ring cameras or something just to see. That's a good thought. Yeah, it doesn't matter what what you're putting it in. That a person has to open it, right? He's debunking more PIs. Oh, that's going to go really well on Twitter, X, whatever. There's going to be more garbage tomorrow. I love the mob though. He's really good at what he does. Uh, yeah, yeah. I think that PI needs to get a different job. That's my opinion. He's not very good at the one he's got. Yeah. You know how you can tell when somebody's not very good at what they do? It stands out like a sore thumb. That's what's happening with this PI think, right? Yep, you never know. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love spending time with you guys. It's awesome. And special thank you to my mods. I love you guys. All three of you. I know. Hong and Nick have been quiet, kind of quiet. Uh, Somewhat quiet. Hong has been making some videos out there, but yeah, somewhat quiet. More quiet than he's been. So I'm hoping something good is coming. And of course, they say that Seth's Blue Town, which is ridiculous because he's all afraid of a lawsuit. It's the farthest thing I'm sure from Seth's mind. If he's out of town, then he's following a lead or something, or he went to visit his mom, or he's visiting Tony or something, right? There's always a reason. But all right. Well, thank you guys so much. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granny'scrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.